An 86-84 game entering the fourth quarter. The Rockets had a 2-point lead. But over the next 8 minutes and 7 seconds, the Warriors scored 5 points. That's right. The Rockets opened the final quarter on a 20-5 run, and they are right back in the series, tied at 3 games apiece. And there will be a game 7 on Sunday in Houston, as the Warriors are looking to not become the 14th team to blow a 3-1 lead in a best-of-7 series. We welcome everybody to Toyota Warriors post-game live here at the Gatehouse at Thrive City with the Hall of Famer Chris Bullen, the pride of Yale, Zine Ikeda, and NBA champion Festus Ezeli. I am Vontae Hill. A nip-it-tup game, but the Rockets, let's be real, Fezzy, they controlled the tempo, dictated the pace of this game, and they went out running in the fourth quarter.
Well, the young Houston Rockets, who were once nervous coming into this series because a lot of them was their first time in the playoffs, well, they look comfortable now, Vontae. All right, they held the Warriors to 107 points, but a lot of this game was them pushing the Warriors to the three-point line. The depth, the length, the physicality really bothered the Warriors. They got every loose ball, every second chance points. They were running. The Warriors just looked uncomfortable, and this was a prime opportunity for the Warriors to advance and get the home court advantage. Now you lost that advantage. You have to go to Houston and take it now.
I mean, the Warriors completely lost all momentum that they had in this series. They've lost 2 opportunities to close this game out, and it came down to the Warriors not looking on the same page from the get-go. You can start with that play to start the game with Draymond Green and Jalen Green. That was very distracting to start. But if you looked at the offense, they settled for tough shots all night long. Rather than getting into the zone, trying to find shots that were easier, they gave up shots. There was no spacing on the floor. And then defensively, they struggled to contain the dribble penetration. The Warriors just looked a little bit out of sorts, even though they found themselves just within 2 at the end of the third. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah, Steve Kerr started defensive lineup, and we all thought maybe GP2 to slow Fred VanVleet down. Fred VanVleet had an incredible game once again, dynamic with 29 points. All their starters were phenomenal, and Dylan Brooks didn't even play that well tonight. Think about this. They made 35 field goals and 33 free throws. So basically I had a hard time taking away anything. And the Warriors struggled again from the field. You know, Jimmy and Steph really the only offensive threats out there consistently. That zone bothered them. We talked pregame about how to attack that zone. But every lineup that Ime Udoka threw out there seemed to click. You know, he went with a smaller lineup for a little bit with Jabari Smith, more offense. He went with Steven Adams. And now even with Steve Kerr employing this hacker Kiwi, I think Ime Udoka showed much confidence leading into next game by leaving him in there. Lo and behold, he winds up having a double-figure game. So, as you said, Bonte, I think the Rockets have controlled this series entirely, but one game, all that can switch. And the Warriors have that experience. They got that championship DNA. But, as Fitz just mentioned, you're going to have to shoot the ball way better than 41% from the field to beat this team.
41% in the last 3 games the Warriors have shot. And Fezzi, real quick, before we get to the fourth quarter tape, the balance on offense. 49 of their 90 shots
threes
came from the three-point line.
And they shot 30% from the three-point line. The advantage for the Warriors is that they are better shooters from the three-point line. But I think they only made 3 threes more than the Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets were downhill all night long. They lived in the paint for the Warriors. If you look at the shot chart for the Houston Rockets, it's all within around the rim. They were dunking everything. They were getting backdoors. They were getting offensive rebounds. That was their game plan. But for the Warriors, they couldn't get anything inside. Steven Adams was blocking everything. The way you get him out the game is the hacker Kiwi. And what does he do? 9 for 16 from the free throw line. Big fella was cooking tonight.
No doubt about that. Let's roll this fourth quarter tape because, as Ina mentioned, the Warriors are only down by a bucket. They had to feel fortunate to only be down 2 entering the final 12 minutes of this game 6. But Fred VanVleet, right off the rip, 6 seconds into the fourth quarter, hits a 3. And we'll get to his 3-point numbers over the last 3 games in just a second. Jalen Green with a drive baseline. But again, an offensive rebound by the Houston Rockets. They had 11 offensive rebounds. He puts it back up. And then Şengün going to work against Jimmy Butler. This is a tough guy. 21 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists. Alperen Şengün has gotten more comfortable by the game than Amen Thompson. You can't say enough about this kid. He's a superstar in the making. 14.7 rebounds for him, attacking the paint. And the Rockets would open up a double-digit lead. And on the season, Zena, when the Rockets, when they build a 10-point lead at any point during the game, they are now 51-8.
It's sustainability. They have the legs, they have the youth, they have the athleticism to be able to keep the same energy that got them into that position of having a 10-point lead. And as Melly mentioned, regardless of who was out there, you got production. And that could not be said about the Warriors. That was the difference in the game. The role players stepped up, whether they were on the bench for the Rockets or where they were in peripheral of Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks and whomever. You saw production out of the role players.
Well, on the other hand, you just had Steph and Jimmy Butler offensively for the Warriors. Moses Moody chipped in, and he had a great night, solid off the bench. He made a solid statement for him to get back in the starting lineup. But I felt like the Warriors couldn't buy a basket from any of their role players, really lacking the offensive flow that got them here in the first place. It seemed like they just stood on the three-point line jacking three-point shots. There's a lot of driving kicks. There's a lot of throwing into Jimmy on the block, split action. All those things were missing because of Houston Rockets' physicality.
But Malik, give the Rockets credit. They got a lot of deflections with their zone, playing the pass with some of the non-shooters on the Golden State Warriors. And Stephen Curry with the inefficient 9-23 performance from the field, just 6-16 from three. You have to give the Rockets all the credit in the world. Their defense stepped up, especially in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, the defense stepped up. I thought they did a really good job. Look, the Warriors wound up getting 12 more field goal attempts, 90-78. But not quality shots. As Festus said, a lot of rushed, contested threes. I thought the Rockets did a really good job having the Warriors offense really out by half court, late into the shot clock. The shot clock was running down for a lot of their possessions. They made some phenomenal shots late in the shot clock. GP2 made 3. Jimmy Butler made some phenomenal shots. But I think the Rockets defense would live with those because it's kind of run the shot clock down. It kind of plays into their hands. Both teams had 26 assists. That's a big number for the Rockets. It's a decent number for the Warriors, but they want to be at 30 or above. But you look at those clips, they were very content of having Şengün go one-on-one, picking out some mismatches. At the other end, the Warriors were doing the same thing. And I think that's not what the Warriors really want to do. They want to get into that rhythm, flow, get them messing up some switches off Steph's down screens. And I've mentioned this, and they've done a phenomenal job. But it's really tough to incorporate an isolation player like Jimmy Butler with a rhythm, freedom player, and motion player like Steph Curry. It's really tough. It's hard to speed the game up and slow it down at the same time.
It's a great thing that Houston was able to basically have the Warriors questioning their identity. Offensively, especially against that zone. Do we want to be a person or a team that has Steph Curry running around, spacing the floor, etc., or do we want to be a team that allows Draymond and Jimmy Butler to hold the ball and figure out what they want to do, taking seconds off the shot clock? As Mully mentioned, every single play almost, you felt as if the Warriors were settling for a last-second shot as opposed to an offense that was run and running productively to get a shot.
So the Warriors now fall to 4-30 win, trailing after 3 quarters of play, although it was just a bucket. That record holds true here. Now we pick up the Fred VanVleet tape. And Fred VanVleet has single-handedly changed this series. First couple games, we all thought, well, he may be unplayable. Why isn't Jabari Smith Jr. playing more? But over the last 3 games, Fred VanVleet is 18-27 from the three-point line. A monster night for him, Fezzi fell. 29 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Perfect from the free throw line, and he has all the confidence in the world right now.
Well, this is the guy that you did not want to get going. Fred VanVleet, he is a champion. That's the veteran on their team. Now that their backs were against the wall tonight, you had the veteran step up. And part of it was he is undersized. So having other guys get going, they actually created opportunities for him to get open shots on the three-point line.
And look at these numbers, Bully. He shot it better than Steph in the last 3 games, which is remarkable.
No, this is kind of a microcosm of the Houston Rockets identity. They never really get too far down. Even when they're struggling, they're able to fight back. As you said, Bonte, after those first 2 games, he actually looked unplayable both offensively and defensively, and he's been the exact opposite. I think he's been the catalyst strategically, defensively, taking the ball movement away from the Warriors, making them go isolation because he's gotten Draymond so tight at the top of the floor. And then offensively, he's just exploded. He's found his three-point shot. He's playing in rhythm. And he really started that barrage in the fourth quarter. I mean, that was like 4 seconds into the fourth, he made that 4-point play.
Zena, championship DNA he's displaying.
I was just going to say, this does give me 2019 feels. Just a little bit. He's getting real comfortable. And the thing that I love about Fred VanVleet's play tonight, and just really in these last 2 games, he got hot in that first quarter, got shut down in the second quarter, and didn't go away. That resiliency, that bounce back, another part of the identity of Houston. And man, Fred VanVleet is tough. The way that he was making some of those buckets and also not letting any of the chatter get to him. You saw him telling his teammates to kill all that noise, focus on the game, and get the job done.
Well, the difference between the Warriors and the Rockets is when they got their open shots, the Houston Rockets, they hit it at 40% from the three-point line. Well, the Warriors, when they leave Brandon Pajemski, when he had open shots, when Moses Moody hit his shots. Moses Moody, Brandon Pajemski, Quentin Post, these guys really struggled from the field. It could be due to Houston's length, due to their physicality, but they let these guys shoot. And if they hit those shots, it's a different game. So the Warriors role players got to come on the road next game.
And I thought, Bante, we were watching the game together for a little while. You were mentioning how the multiple efforts where they'll take away the drive and get out to the three, run them off the three, and then able to contest. The length, the athleticism, the fact that they're tied together defensively, making everything tough. So I mentioned the Warriors get 12 more field goal attempts, but the Rockets win points off turnovers, plus 10. Second chance points, plus 7, and free throws, plus 15. So they really dominated, once again, all the stat categories. And this team, all of a sudden, has confidence offensively. When they had the games they lost, they shot 39% for the field and, horribly from the free throw line. All of a sudden now they're the ones that have found their confidence offensively. Their defense is a constant.
And don't forget about points in the paint, a plus 10 for the Houston Rockets, a stat they've dominated all series long. And with that said, it's time to bring out the panic meter.
What's your favorite team? Comment below, and if you liked the video, please leave a like. This really helps the channel grow and brings you even more content. Oh, and if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button and activate the bell to receive all notifications. With each game, we notice that the NBA is getting more competitive every day, and all the teams are looking for reinforcements to win the championship. And only here can you follow your favorite team daily with incredible content from different sources. Here on the channel, there are new videos every day with analysis, curiosities, and the best moments in basketball. That's it for today, folks. Thanks for following along. The NBA doesn't stop, and neither do we. Until the next video. NBA, the passion that connects us.